Hi everybody, and welcome to Life Begins at the Edge of Your Comfort Zone. Today, I'm Jane Boyd, by the way. I'm one of the hosts of How Bright Can We Shine? And today we're going to be looking at the following learning outcomes. By the end of the session, you will know how the comfort zone model works. You will recognise how this model has played out in your life so far. You will have identified a goal and created an action plan to expand your comfort zone, and you will make a personal commitment to your goal. Now, I just want to say that what we're going to do as I go through is I'm just going to whiz through the slides and explain things. But what I need you to do is to pause when you want to have a think or to write anything down or do any of the activities. Okay, that will keep this video shorter. And if you've got any questions, just send me a message on Shine and I'll answer them, be happy to answer them. So the first thing to do is I want you to think about which of these photographs it makes you feel comfortable and which of these photographs makes you feel very, very uncomfortable. So here we go, lady sitting in a nice comfortable chair, young lady starting university, someone giving a presentation on stage to a lot of people, someone singing on the stage, spiders and snakes, meeting someone for the very first time, and finally going up in a hot air balloon. So I'm sure you've had to think about those different pictures. You will have thought that some of the things feel very comfortable and others feel less comfortable, and it's possible that you might have seen some that put you into your panic zone as well. And we're going to be looking at the comfort zone model today, and the first thing I want to say about it is that it's really interesting how these pictures show you that people are very different. So looking at this, for example, this balloon picture, it frightens me so much to think of going up in a hot air balloon. It's definitely my panic zone. Heights is my panic zone. Other people feel perfectly comfortable with that, don't they? I feel perfectly comfortable with giving this presentation. Other people would find it really scary. So it's very personal, is what you feel like in your panic zone, or your, what's in your learning zone, what's in your panic zone, what's in your comfort zone. So let's just have a look a bit more about it. So I've called it How to Get a Learning Mindset, because that's what it's all about. It's about changing your thinking process so that you become a learner rather than a panicker. So first of all, you're in your comfort zone when you're doing things that you feel comfortable doing. There's no feeling of challenge or nerves or scared or terrified in your comfort zone. So here's the comfort zone in the centre. It's the centre circle. You feel relaxed about doing things in your comfort zone. For example, I'm comfortable speaking in public. That's inside my comfort zone, but I'm not comfortable singing in public. That's outside my comfort zone. Your learning zone is where you feel challenged but not panicky, so it's the best place to learn. So for example, I would attempt to sing in public. That's my learning zone, but I would not attempt to abseil. That's definitely outside my learning zone. So the further away from the comfort zone, the less comfortable and more challenged you feel. But your panic zone is everything that's outside your learning zone. So it's not really a circle, it's just the rest of the world. And it's where you feel scared. The main learning here is I'm terrified and I don't want to do this again. So for example, I had to abseil during training course, and I learned that I never want to do that again. It terrified me so much. The smaller your panic zone, the more challenging things you're willing to try. So that's a really good place to be. Shrinking your panic zone and expanding your comfort and learning zone is really important. So when you step into your learning zone, and learn that you can do something, you become more and more comfortable as you practice it, and you expand your comfort zone. So as you practice that thing, it just becomes comfortable, doesn't it? It just becomes part of your comfort zone. So I'm sure if you think now, you'll be able to think of something that you have found not so comfortable in the past and is now in your comfort zone. So for example, when I was a baby, I was frightened to walk. I was so frightened to walk that my dad used to get one of his ties, one of his neckties, and give me one end of it, and then the other end of it he used to hold on to, so that I dare to walk. And I could walk. I was just terrified of falling over. I still am. And he used to let this necktie go slack, and I used to carry on walking and carry on walking. And then when I noticed the tie was slack, I used to sit down on the bottom quickly. It was outside of my comfort zone, but I'm comfortable with it now. There you go. And when you expand your comfort zone, that expands your learning zone out as well. So the more that you expand your comfort zone, the more that you get a bigger learning zone as well. But what's great about it is, best of all, you shrink your panic zone down. So as you, because there's nowhere else for it to go, because it's the rest of the world, isn't it? So every time you expand your learning zone into that, and you feel less scared about things, then smaller the panic zone gets. So here's an activity. So how has this shown up in your life? So first of all, I want you to identify 1 or 2 activities that are now in your comfort zone that weren't there before lockdown. Then I want you to identify 1 or 2 activities that are in your panic zone, and identify 1 or 2 activities that are in your learning zone. So write those down. So pause the video now so that you can write those down. So how do you do it? How do you expand in your comfort zone and your learning zone? Well, the first thing is be open to trying new things that are not terrifying but are challenging. The more you try out what you've learned, the more comfortable you feel, and therefore practice makes perfect, and that becomes kind of innate and is part of your start again, Jane. That becomes innate and is part of your comfort zone quite quickly. Start by trying something small but significant to you, or something that feels less challenging. So don't pick anything that's really scary. Pick something that's just less challenging. So here's another activity to do. Which learning zone activity is nearest to your comfort zone that you've written down? And what would you like to try out that's new and makes you feel a bit nervous? Pause now and write it down. And then the next activity, what's it worth? How could it change your life if you did that thing that you've written down? What is at stake what's the risk if you try it? And is it worth the risk? Have a think about those things and write them down. So this is the commitment continuum. So you can see that there are various different levels of commitment, from I'm not going to do it, I'm reluctantly going to do it, okay, I'll have a go, and then into yes, I'll do it, and I'm committed to do it, and then I'm compelled to do it, and then there's an obsessed bit as well. So what this is showing you is that when it comes to committing to do something, it's important that you think hard about it and that you are committed, because the more committed you are, the more likely it is to get done. And if you think about things that you want to make a difference in your life, a lot of them don't get done because you're not committed enough. So how do we do this commitment? Well, the first thing we need to do is we need to work out the plan. And it's important not to think about the top of the mountain when you're planning, because it is too big and too scary and too high, and it's kind of makes you feel a bit dizzy when you look up there. But if you just think about what the very first teeny weeny step is, then that's okay. Don't make yourself do something too big. Start by a tiny weeny step. So if I say to you that I've been thinking today about what's in my learning zone, and that is exercise, and I know for a lot of people that that's definitely in your comfort zone, but for me it's not. It's in my learning zone. But I do need to do some exercise, and I've been given some exercise by my physiotherapist to do. The thought of being a kind of big outdoorsy kind of exercisey person is just beyond me. That is probably well towards my panic zone. But the thought of being able to just do some regular exercise is less scary. It's within my learning zone. But it's still a big mountain for me. But what's not a big mountain is thinking, tomorrow I'm going to do the exercises that my physiotherapist has given me to do. I'm not promising to do them the day after. I'm just promising to do them tomorrow. So that's my first teeny weeny step. After I've done them tomorrow, I'll probably set a step of doing them the next day. And eventually, as time goes on and that becomes a comfortable thing, I might feel okay with saying, I'm going to do them for a whole week. So that's how it works. The more that you do something and the tinier the steps are, the much less scary it is to do it. Okay, you can pause here and have a think about your step. So number 4, what do we do now? Now we've worked out our step and where we're going to go and how we're going to get there, we need to make sure that when we start doing it, then we have to reflect regularly on how it went and do I feel more comfortable with it? Because the more you do that, if you do that every time you've tried the new thing, you'll find that you're becoming more and more comfortable with it, and that helps build your confidence. Number 5, celebrate your success. Just pat yourself on the back and make sure you spend a bit of time thinking about how well you've done and how far you've gone with your comfort zone. Because if you don't do that, then what happens is that you don't feel like you're moving forward, but actually you're making huge strides forward. Number 6, ask yourself, what is the worst that could happen? And how likely is it to happen? And is it worth the risk? So that's part of the activity that we've already done, where we thought about what the risk is and what is it worth that? Is it really worth risking that? Because quite often I would say that the worst that could happen is that you fail, and that's not that bad, is it? If you didn't try, it will never happen. But if you tried and failed, well, at least you've tried and you've learned something, haven't you? Perhaps you can work out a better way of attacking it. Number 9, remind yourself, this is my favourite one, remind yourself, you might want to write this down, so do pause this if you want to. I'm doing this because I'm determined to free myself from the fear so that I can do the things I want to do, achieve the things I want to achieve, and become the person I want to be. So that's what it's all about. I'm just going to say those things again. I'm doing this because I'm determined to free myself from the fear so that I can do the things I want to do, achieve the things I want to achieve, and become the person I want to be. So there you go. There's a great motivator for you straight away. Keep reminding yourself of that. And in no time, you'll feel comfortable with new things. And guess what that means? Yeah, it means that your comfort zone's expanded. And so did your learning zone. And best of all, you'll be daring to learn things that were previously in your panic zone. Wow. And then suddenly your horizon has expanded greatly. Result. Let me know how you get on with this. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm just going to quickly, so the learning outcomes were, by the session, you will know how the comfort zone model works, recognise how this model has played out in your life so far. I have identified a goal and created an action plan to expand your comfort zone and made a personal commitment to your goal. I think that's what you need to do. And what I would suggest in terms of making a personal commitment is that you find somebody and tell them that this is what you're going to do and this is the first step that you're going to take. Someone who is going to support you and feel positive and check up on you and be positive with you and encourage you. Okay. And I'd love to hear how you get on. And if you want me to be the person who encourages you, just let me know. Okay. Lots of love. Bye.